Hello everyone, welcome back. Today, we are not here to learn another grammar rule or memorize another list of vocabulary. Today, we are here for something deeper, something more important, something that will change not just your English, but the way you see yourself. Because English is not only a language, it is a doorway to opportunities, friendships, dreams, confidence, identity, and the world waiting beyond your mother tongue. But many of you listening to me right now are standing outside that doorway, your hand on the doorknob, waiting for the right moment, waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel perfect, waiting to feel confident. And while you are waiting, life is passing. Let me ask you something real. How many times have you stayed silent because you were afraid your English was not good enough? How many conversations have you avoided because you feared judgment? How many times have you wanted to speak, to express yourself, to show your personality, your humor, your ideas, but instead you swallowed your words and pretended you had nothing to say? How many opportunities have walked away from you because of that silence? And I know the reason. The reason is not lack of vocabulary. The reason is not lack of grammar. The reason is not lack of intelligence. The reason is fear. Fear of mistakes. Fear of sounding wrong. Fear of being judged. Fear of being seen as less. But listen to me and listen carefully. Fear has been lying to you. Fear told you that mistakes are dangerous. Fear told you that speaking before perfection is embarrassing. Fear told you that silence is safer, but silence is not safety. Silence is the slow death of your voice, the slow death of your confidence, the slow death of your identity. And the most painful truth is this: you built your own prison. A prison decorated with grammar books, vocabulary lists, flashcards, notebooks, lectures, and apps. A prison that looks intelligent from the outside. A prison that looks disciplined and hardworking. A prison that everyone praises. People say to you, "Wow, you study so much. Wow, your grammar is so good. Wow, you understand everything." But no one sees that inside. You are silent. Inside, you are afraid. Inside, your voice is trapped behind the bars of perfection. And today, we are going to break that prison open. Not with more study, not with more rules, not with more theory, but with truth. And the truth is this: fluency does not come from perfection. Fluency comes from courage. Courage to speak while making mistakes. Courage to speak before you feel ready. Courage to speak even when your voice shakes. Courage to speak even when you are scared. Because let me tell you something powerful. You do not learn to speak by thinking. You learn to speak by speaking. Think about it. You learned to walk by falling. You did not wait until you understood the physics of balance. You did not study the biomechanics of putting one foot in front of the other. You fell. You stumbled. You cried. You got up. You tried again. And one day, without even realizing it, you were walking. You learned to write by making messy letters. Your first attempts were crooked, uneven, barely recognizable. But you kept going. You learned to drive by shaking behind the wheel, gripping it so tight your knuckles turned white, terrified of every car that passed. But you kept driving. Why then do you expect to speak English smoothly without struggle? Why do you expect to be perfect before practicing? Why do you expect confidence without action? YouTube confidence is not something you wait for. Confidence is something you build. Confidence is the result of doing the thing you are afraid of every single day. And yes, you will make mistakes. Yes, you will say the wrong word. Yes, someone may not understand you. Yes, your sentences may be messy, but that is not failure. That is growth. That is learning. That is courage in motion. Every sentence you speak, even the broken ones, is a brick in the bridge that leads you to fluency. But silence builds nothing. Silence is not practice. Silence is not protection. Silence is surrender. And you are not here to surrender. You are here to rise. You are here to speak. You are here to step into the world with your voice. Let me tell you a story. There was a woman I met years ago. Let's call her Maria. Maria had studied English for 15 years. 15 years. She knew every grammar rule. She could explain the difference between the present perfect and the past perfect better than most native speakers. She had notebooks filled with vocabulary words, organized by category, color-coded, memorized. But when I met Maria at an international conference, she could barely introduce herself. She stood in the corner of the room, holding her coffee cup like a shield, watching everyone else network and laugh and connect. And when someone approached her and said, "Hi, where are you from?" she panicked. Her mind went blank. She said something short, something safe, and then excused herself. Later, she told me with tears in her eyes, "I feel like I wasted 15 years. I know so much, but I can say nothing." And I understood her pain. Because Maria's story is not unique. Maria's story is the story of millions of language learners around the world. She decided that for the next 30 days, she would speak English every single day, no matter how uncomfortable it felt. She would not wait for perfect sentences. She would not rehearse in her head. She would just speak. She joined online conversation groups. She spoke to strangers in coffee shops. She recorded voice messages instead of text messages. She narrated her day out loud while cooking dinner. And at first, it was terrible. She stumbled. She paused. She used the wrong words. She felt embarrassed, but she kept going. And after 30 days, something miraculous happened. Maria did not become perfect, but she became free. Free from the fear, free from the silence, free from the prison of perfection. She sent me a voice message, and in it she said, "I finally feel like myself in English. I finally feel like my voice matters. That is what I want for you. I want you to feel like yourself in English. I want you to feel like your voice matters, because it does. Your voice matters. Your story matters. Your accent matters. Your courage matters. And right now, someone, somewhere in the world, needs to hear what you have to say. But they cannot hear you if you stay silent. They cannot hear you if you wait for perfection. They cannot hear you if you let fear win. So what is stopping you? The image of the perfect speaker in your mind. The fantasy that one day you will sound like a native speaker from movies. The fantasy that you will speak without mistakes, without hesitation, without searching for words. But that version of fluency does not exist, not even for native speakers. Native speakers say, pause, repeat themselves, forget words, use simple vocabulary, break grammar rules all the time. I want you to really hear this. Native speakers are not perfect. They say, "I seen," instead of "I saw." They say "between you and I," instead of "between you and me." They forget the word they are looking for and say, "You know, that thing," the thing you use for the thing. Fluency is not speaking perfectly. Fluency is speaking comfortably. Fluency is being able to continue even when things are not perfect. Fluency is flowing forward, not freezing. Fluency is movement, not correctness. So stop trying to be perfect. Perfect is the enemy of progress. Perfect is the enemy of expression. Perfect is the enemy of voice. You do not need perfect English. You need alive English. You need English that moves, English that breathes, English that connects, English that expresses who you are. Because your English is not just a skill, it is your story. Your accent is not something to hide. Your accent is proof of your courage. Your accent is the sound of someone who chose to grow. Your accent means you know more than one language. Your accent makes you unique, strong, powerful. So do not say, "Sorry for my bad English." Say, "Thank you for listening to the English I have." Say it with pride. Say it with confidence. Say it with the knowledge that you are doing something brave every single time you open your mouth in a language that is not your first. You may think you need more vocabulary, but the vocabulary you already have is enough to express 80% of your thoughts. Research shows that native speakers use only about 3,000 words in daily conversation. 3,000. You probably already know 2,000 of them. You do not need more words. You need more courage. You may think you need more grammar, but your brain already knows how to form sentences. You have been doing it for years. The problem is not your English. The problem is your fear. And fear does not disappear by waiting. Fear disappears when you walk through it. Fear disappears when you speak anyway. Fear disappears when you choose courage. Let me share another story with you. There was a man named Chen. Chen was an engineer. Brilliant mind. He could solve complex mathematical problems that would make your head spin. He got a job offer at an international company. His dream job. A job that would change his life. But there was one requirement. He needed to present his projects in English at weekly meetings. Chen was terrified. He almost turned down the job because of the language requirement. But he decided to try. His first presentation was a disaster. He forgot words. He mixed up his tenses. His slides had errors. He could see people in the room looking confused. And after the presentation, Chen went home and wanted to give up. He thought, "I am not good enough for this. I should go back to a local company where I can speak my own language." But then something interesting happened. His manager sent him an email. The email said, "Chen, I could see you were nervous today, but I want you to know something. We hired you because you are brilliant. We hired you because of your ideas, not because of your English. Your English will improve, but your intelligence, your creativity, your problem-solving skills, those are already excellent. Do not let language stop you from showing the world what you can do. Keep presenting. Keep trying. We believe in you." Chen cried when he read that email, and he made a decision. He would not quit. He would not hide. He would present every week, and he would get better. And he did. 6 months later, Chen was not just presenting. He was leading meetings. He was confident. He was clear. He was respected. Not because his English became perfect, but because his courage became stronger than his fear. That manager understood something important. Something I need you to understand. Your value is not determined by your English. Your value is determined by who you are, what you know, what you contribute, what you create. English is just a tool to share your value with the world. And tools do not need to be perfect to be useful. A hammer does not need to be beautiful to build a house. A pen does not need to be expensive to write a novel. And your English does not need to be perfect to change your life. Now, I want to talk about something that might be uncomfortable, but it is necessary. I want to talk about the people who judge you for your English. Yes, they exist. There are people who will correct your grammar in the middle of your sentence. There are people who will laugh at your pronunciation. There are people who will speak to you slowly and loudly, as if you are a child. There are people who will finish your sentences because they are too impatient to wait for you to find your words. And I want to tell you something about those people. Their behavior says nothing about you and everything about them. People who judge others for trying are people who are too afraid to try themselves. People who mock others for making mistakes are people who are too insecure to make their own. People who lack patience for language learners are people who lack empathy, humility, and character. YouTube. Do not let those people define your journey. Do not let those people silence your voice. Do not let those people make you feel small, because you are not small. You are brave. You are growing. You are becoming someone who can communicate across cultures, across borders, across worlds. And that is powerful. That is beautiful. That is worthy of respect. And the people who truly matter, the people who are worth your time and energy, those people will celebrate your courage. Those people will listen with patience. Those people will see your effort and admire it. Those people will say, I respect you for trying. I respect you for learning. I respect you for being brave enough to speak. And here is another truth. Most people are not judging you the way you think they are. Most people are not focused on your mistakes. Most people are focused on understanding you. Most people are rooting for you. Because most people know how hard it is to learn a language. Most people have tried to learn a language and struggled. Most people respect the effort. So the judgment you feel is often not coming from others. It is coming from yourself. You are your own harshest critic. You are the one telling yourself you are not good enough. You are the one replaying your mistakes over and over in your mind. You are the one creating the fear. And that means you also have the power to stop it. You have the power to choose a different narrative. You have the power to speak to yourself with kindness, with compassion, with encouragement. What if, instead of saying, I sounded so stupid today, you said, I was brave today. I spoke, even though I was scared. What if, instead of saying, I will never be fluent, you said, I am getting better every day? What if, instead of saying, everyone must think I am terrible at English, you said, I am proud of myself for trying? Do you see the difference? The words you say to yourself matter. They shape your reality. They shape your confidence. They shape your future. So choose words that build you up, not words that tear you down. YouTube. Now let me give you some practical guidance, because motivation is important, but action is what creates change. So here is what I want you to do. I want you to create a 30-day speaking challenge for yourself. Not a perfect speaking challenge, a brave speaking challenge. Every single day for the next 30 days, you will speak English out loud for at least 10 minutes. It does not matter who you speak to. You can speak to yourself. You can speak to a mirror. You can speak to your pet. You can speak to the sky. You can record yourself on your phone. You can join online conversation groups. You can find a language partner. You can narrate your daily activities. You can describe what you see around you. You can tell stories from your life. You can share your opinions about movies, books, news, anything. The content does not matter. What matters is that you speak. What matters is that you move your mouth. You use your voice. You practice the physical act of speaking. And here is the most important rule of this challenge. No judgment allowed. You are not allowed to criticize yourself. You are not allowed to stop mid-sentence and say, that was wrong. You are not allowed to replay your recordings and focus on mistakes. You are only allowed to notice one thing. You did it. You spoke. You tried. You were brave. That is the only thing that matters. And at the end of 30 days, you will be a different person. Not a perfect speaker, but a confident speaker. Not a fluent speaker, but a courageous speaker. And courage is the foundation of fluency. I also want you to change the way you think about mistakes. Right now, you probably see mistakes as failures. But what if I told you that mistakes are gifts? What if I told you that every mistake is your brain's way of learning? What if I told you that mistakes are proof that you are trying something new, something challenging, something outside your comfort zone? When a child learns to walk and falls, we do not say, "This child is a failure." We say, "This child is learning." When a scientist runs an experiment and it does not work, we do not say, "This scientist is stupid." We say, "This scientist is discovering." So why do you call yourself a failure when you make a mistake in English? Why do you treat yourself worse than you would treat a child, a student, a friend? YouTube. From today forward, I want you to celebrate your mistakes. When you use the wrong word, do not panic. Smile and say, "Interesting, now I know." When you forget what you were going to say, do not apologize. Laugh and say, "My brain is still loading." When someone does not understand you, do not feel ashamed. Repeat yourself. Use different words. Draw a picture. Use gestures. Communication is not about perfect words. Communication is about connection. And connection can happen even with broken sentences, even with wrong grammar, even with a strong accent. Connection happens when you are authentic, when you are present, when you are willing to try. Let me tell you one more story. There was a young woman named Fatima. Fatima came from a small village where no one spoke English. She moved to a big city to study at university. All her classes were in English. She felt lost. She felt invisible. She felt like everyone around her was so much better, so much smarter, so much more confident. For the first month, Fatima did not speak in class. She just listened. She took notes. She stayed quiet. But there was one professor who noticed her silence. After class one day, the professor approached Fatima and said, "I notice you never raise your hand, but I read your essays. You have brilliant ideas. Why do you not share them with the class?" Fatima answered, "My English is not good enough. I do not want to waste everyone's time." The professor looked at her with kind eyes and said, "Fatima, your ideas are not a waste of time. Your ideas are valuable, and the class needs to hear different perspectives. Yes, your English might not be perfect, but your thoughts are. And I promise you, if you speak, people will listen. Not to your grammar, to your ideas." That conversation changed Fatima's life. The next class, her hand was shaking, but she raised it. She shared her opinion about the topic. Her voice was soft. Her sentences were simple, but her idea was powerful. And when she finished speaking, the professor smiled and said, "Exactly. Thank you, Fatima." Other students nodded. Some wrote down what she said. And Fatima realized something. She had something worth saying, and people wanted to hear it. From that day on, Fatima spoke in every class. She joined study groups. She participated in debates. She made friends. And by the end of the semester, one of her classmates said to her, "Fatima, you always have the most interesting perspective. I love hearing what you think. Not I love hearing your perfect English, but I love hearing what you think, because that is what matters. Not how you say it, but what you say." Video Scribe YouTube. This is the truth that will set you free. People care about your message, not your mistakes. People care about your authenticity, not your accent. People care about your ideas, not your pronunciation. Yes, there will always be someone who focuses on the surface, but those are not your people. Your people are the ones who listen to your heart. Your people are the ones who value your courage. Your people are the ones who see you, not just hear you, can see. So right now, I want you to imagine yourself 1 year from today. You walk into a room where people are speaking English, and instead of shrinking, you open your mouth, you speak, you express yourself, you laugh, you share stories, you connect, and the people around you see your confidence, they see your light, they see your voice, and they say, "You speak so well, you're fluent." And you will smile, because you will know that your fluency did not come from perfection. It came from courage. It came from choosing to speak every day, even when it felt uncomfortable. It came from letting go of shame. It came from allowing yourself to be imperfect. It came from believing your voice deserved to be heard. And that journey starts now, not tomorrow, not next week, not when you study more. Now, so take a deep breath. Put your hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. That is life. That is power. That is your voice saying, "Let me out." And now, repeat after me, out loud. No whispering, no hesitation. My English is a sign of my courage. Again, my English is a sign of my courage. Feel those words in your body. Let them sink into your bones. Let them become your truth. And now, say the words that will define your life from this day forward. I am a fearless communicator. Say it again. I am a fearless communicator. This is your identity now. This is your power now. This is your voice now. And from this moment on, you do not wait. You do not hide. You do not apologize. You speak. You try. You grow. You rise. And nothing, absolutely nothing, can stop you now. Because you have made a decision that changes everything. You have decided that your voice matters more than your fear. You have decided that your message matters more than your mistakes. You have decided that your growth matters more than other people's opinions. You have decided that you are worthy of being heard, even when your English is not perfect. You have decided that you are brave enough to try, strong enough to fail, and resilient enough to keep going. You have decided that English is not just a language you learn. It is a language you live. It is a language you breathe. It is a language that carries your dreams, your stories, your identity into the world. And I want to tell you something important. This journey will not always be easy. There will be days when you feel discouraged. There will be days when you feel like you are not improving. There will be days when you want to give up. And on those days, I want you to remember why you started. Remember the dreams that brought you here. Remember the person you want to become. Remember the life you want to create. Remember that every single person who speaks a second language went through exactly what you are going through. Every single one. They felt the fear. They made the mistakes. They had the doubts, but they kept going. And now they are free. Now they are confident. Now they are living the life they dreamed of. And you will too. Not because you are perfect, but because you are persistent. Not because you are fearless, but because you are brave. And there is a difference. Fearless means you do not feel the fear. Brave means you feel the fear and do it anyway. And that is what you are. You are brave. So let me leave you with this final thought. Your English journey is not just about language. It is about identity. It is about discovering who you are when you step outside your comfort zone. It is about proving to yourself that you are capable of more than you ever imagined. It is about building a version of yourself that is stronger, more confident, more resilient. It is about becoming someone who does not let fear make decisions. It is about becoming someone who tries, who fails, who learns, who grows. It is about becoming someone who speaks not because they are perfect, but because they have something to say. And you do. You have so much to say. The world is waiting to hear your voice, your ideas, your stories, your perspective, your truth. So do not make the world wait any longer. Do not make yourself wait any longer. Start speaking. Start today. Start now. Because you are ready. You have always been ready. You just needed to believe it. And I believe it. I believe in you. I believe in your courage. I believe in your voice. And I cannot wait to see where your English takes you, because it will take you places you never dreamed possible. It will open doors you never knew existed. It will connect you with people who will change your life. It will give you opportunities that will transform your future, but only if you speak, only if you try, only if you let your voice be heard. So go, speak, be brave, be imperfect, be authentically, courageously, beautifully you, and watch as the world opens up before you. This is your moment. This is your time. This is your voice. Use it, share it, celebrate it, because you, exactly as you are right now, with your accent, with your mistakes, with your imperfect English, you are enough. You are worthy. You are powerful. And you are a fearless communicator. Now go show the world what that means.